What if I told you that two sacred names, when chanted together, could unlock a spiritual power so profound that it has transformed millions of lives for over 1,000 years? Right now, at this very moment, countless practitioners around the world are discovering something extraordinary. When they combine Namo Amitabha Buddha with Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva in their daily practice, miracles begin to unfold in ways they never imagined possible. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share could completely change how you understand the power of sacred recitation. By the end of this teaching, you'll discover why these two holy names create such a transformative synergy, and how this ancient practice can bring healing, protection, and profound peace into your life starting today. Dear friends, I want to begin by acknowledging something many of us experience on our spiritual journey. You may have been chanting Namo Amitabha Buddha faithfully for months or even years, seeking peace and liberation. Perhaps you've also called upon Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, the embodiment of infinite compassion during times of difficulty and pain. But have you ever wondered what happens when you unite these two sacred invocations in your daily practice? Have you felt that something profound shifts in your spiritual energy when both names flow from your lips with sincere devotion? Many practitioners tell me they sense a deeper connection, a more complete protection, when they alternate between these two names or chant them in sequence. There's actually profound wisdom in this intuitive practice, and today, I want to share with you the 4 powerful reasons why chanting Namo Amitabha Buddha and Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva together creates such remarkable spiritual results. These aren't just beautiful theories, dear Dharma companions. These are practical insights drawn from Buddhist scripture, verified by centuries of practitioners and confirmed by countless modern testimonies of healing, protection, and awakening. If this topic speaks to your heart, consider subscribing so we can continue this Dharma journey together. Many practitioners in our community have found these teachings life-changing, and I'd be honored to walk this path with you. First, let's understand the profound relationship between Amitabha Buddha and Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, which reveals why their names work together with such power. Imagine for a moment that you're facing a serious health crisis in 2025. Perhaps you've received a difficult diagnosis, or you're watching a loved one struggle with chronic pain that modern medicine hasn't been able to resolve. In these moments of vulnerability, many of us reach out to both Amitabha Buddha and Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva almost instinctively. But why do we feel drawn to both? The answer lies in understanding their sacred relationship. According to the Contemplation Sutra, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva stands on the left side of Amitabha Buddha in the Western Pure Land, serving as one of his 2 principal attendants. The sutra describes this beautifully, stating that when beings are born in the Pure Land, they are welcomed by Amitabha Buddha with Avalokiteshvara and Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva by his side. This isn't merely ceremonial positioning, beloved Sangha. This represents a profound spiritual truth about how compassion and wisdom work together in our liberation. Amitabha Buddha represents the infinite light of wisdom and the boundless life of liberation itself. His name carries the power of his original vow to save all sentient beings who call upon him with sincere faith. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, whose name means the one who perceives the sounds of the world, embodies the active compassion that responds immediately to suffering wherever it arises. In Chinese Pure Land tradition, masters have taught for centuries that Avalokiteshvara serves as the compassionate bridge between suffering beings and Amitabha's saving light. When we chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, we're calling upon the ultimate refuge, the destination of perfect peace. When we chant Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, we're invoking the compassionate guide, who helps us navigate our current suffering while leading us toward that ultimate refuge. Think of it this way, in practical terms that relate to your daily life in 2025. Amitabha Buddha is like the destination of complete healing and peace you're seeking. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva is like the compassionate physician who treats your immediate symptoms while guiding you on the journey to complete wellness. You need both. The Great Compassion Dharani, one of the most powerful invocations to Avalokiteshvara, actually includes references to Amitabha Buddha within its verses, showing how interconnected these practices have always been. When you chant both names together, you're not dividing your practice or diluting your faith. You're actually aligning yourself with the complete structure of Pure Land Buddhism, as it has been transmitted by enlightened masters for over a millennium. Master Shantao, one of the most revered Pure Land patriarchs, explained that single-minded devotion to Amitabha includes honoring all the Bodhisattvas of the Pure Land, particularly Avalokiteshvara and Mahastama Prapta. If you're finding value in this teaching, a like helps share this Dharma with others who need it. And please subscribe. We release new Dharma teachings every week to support your practice. Drop a comment and let me know if you've experienced the power of chanting both names together. Second, chanting both names creates a complete protection system that addresses both immediate suffering and ultimate liberation, which is exactly what we need in our complicated modern lives. Let me share a story that illustrates this beautifully. Last month, a practitioner in our community named Maria, who is 63 years old, reached out with a heartbreaking situation. Her adult son had been struggling with severe depression and anxiety for years, and despite therapy and medication, he was spiraling into a dark place. Maria herself was experiencing heart problems from the stress of watching her son suffer. Feeling helpless and afraid she might lose him. She had been chanting Namo Amitabha Buddha daily for her own peace, but she felt something was missing, some way to help her son more directly. When I suggested she add Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva to her practice, specifically invoking the Bodhisattva's compassion for her son's healing, something shifted. This brings us to a crucial understanding from the Lotus Sutra, Chapter 25, the universal gate of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. The sutra teaches that Avalokiteshvara manifests in countless forms to rescue beings from 7 kinds of disasters and 3 kinds of poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. The sutra specifically states that if beings suffering from much pain hear of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva and single-mindedly call upon his name, the Bodhisattva will immediately perceive their voices and relieve them from their suffering. This is the immediate intervention aspect of our practice, dear friends. Avalokiteshvara responds to current crises, present moment suffering, the emergencies of our daily lives in 2025. Whether it's sudden illness, relationship crisis, financial disaster, or emotional breakdown, Avalokiteshvara's compassion meets us exactly where we are. But here's what many practitioners miss. While Avalokiteshvara relieves immediate suffering, Amitabha Buddha offers the ultimate solution to the root cause of all suffering, which is our existence in samsara itself. The Infinite Life Sutra explains that those who take refuge in Amitabha Buddha and aspire to be born in his Pure Land will never fall back into the cycle of suffering. This is the long-term liberation aspect of our practice. Think about your own life right now. You probably have immediate concerns that need attention today, this week, this month. Maybe you're worried about a medical test result coming back, or you're anxious about a family conflict that needs resolution, or you're struggling with loneliness and emotional pain. These are the situations where Avalokiteshvara's compassionate intervention brings immediate relief and support. But you also have deeper existential questions, don't you? What happens when this life ends? Will all your spiritual practice and good deeds lead somewhere? Or will you be lost again in future suffering? How can you ensure that your consciousness continues on a path of awakening rather than falling back into confusion and pain? This is where Amitabha Buddha's vow provides the ultimate safety net. According to the Contemplation Sutra, even those who have committed grave wrongdoings can still be born in the Pure Land, if they sincerely chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, with deep faith at the end of their lives. When you combine both practices, you create what Buddhist masters call a complete path. Avalokiteshvara compassionately addresses your present suffering, giving you the strength and clarity to continue your spiritual journey. Amitabha Buddha ensures that this journey has a definite destination, a guaranteed liberation from the entire cycle of rebirth and suffering. In 2025, when life feels overwhelming with health crises, family problems, financial stress, and the general anxiety of modern existence, this dual practice gives you both immediate comfort and ultimate confidence. You're not just managing symptoms, you're healing the disease at its root. I'd love to hear your experience with this teaching in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join our growing Sangha. We explore profound Buddhist wisdom every week. Third, the synergy between wisdom and compassion in these 2 names creates an accelerated path to transformation that works faster than either practice alone. This is where things get really interesting from both a spiritual and practical perspective. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when you're chanting, you can feel the practice becoming mechanical, losing its emotional power? Or perhaps the opposite happens, where you become so emotional that you lose the clarity and focus that makes the practice effective. This is actually a common challenge on the Buddhist path, and it reveals why combining these two sacred names is so powerful. The Diamond Sutra teaches us that true wisdom requires us to generate compassion for all beings without being attached to the notion of a being. This sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? How can we feel genuine compassion without clinging to it? How can we help others while understanding the empty nature of both helper and helped? This is exactly the balance that Amitabha Buddha and Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva represent and help us cultivate. Amitabha Buddha's name, when chanted with understanding, purifies our mind and reveals the wisdom nature of emptiness and non-attachment. The Amitabha Sutra describes his Pure Land as a realm where practitioners naturally progress in wisdom because they're surrounded by the teachings of Dharma, expressed through the sounds of birds, trees, and even the wind. This wisdom aspect prevents our practice from becoming overly emotional or superstitious. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva's name, when chanted with devotion, opens our heart to the reality of suffering and the natural compassionate response that arises from wisdom. The great compassion dharani associated with Avalokiteshvara states that those who chant it with sincerity will develop the mind of great compassion, which itself becomes the cause of enlightenment. This compassion aspect prevents our practice from becoming dry, intellectual, or disconnected from the real suffering of ourselves and others. Now, let me give you a practical 2025 example of how this synergy works. Imagine you're dealing with a difficult colleague at work who constantly criticizes you, takes credit for your ideas, and creates a toxic environment. Your natural response might be anger and resentment, which only creates more suffering for you. If you practice only the wisdom aspect, focusing solely on emptiness and detachment, you might become cold and disconnected, which doesn't actually solve the problem or ease your pain. If you practice only the compassion aspect, trying to feel loving kindness without wisdom, you might become overwhelmed by the unfairness, burn out emotionally, or enable harmful behavior. But when you chant Namo Amitabha Buddha and Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva together, something beautiful happens. Amitabha Buddha's name helps you see the ultimate emptiness of the situation, the impermanent nature of this job, this relationship, even this life. This wisdom gives you space, perspective, and freedom from being controlled by the situation. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva's name helps you feel genuine compassion for your colleague, understanding that their harmful behavior comes from their own suffering and confusion. This compassion gives you the emotional warmth and kindness that keeps you connected to your humanity. Together, these two aspects create what Buddhist psychology calls upaya, skillful means. You respond to the situation with both clarity and kindness, setting appropriate boundaries without hatred, protecting yourself without becoming cold. The Avatamsaka Sutra describes this perfectly when it explains that wisdom without compassion is like a tree without fruit, and compassion without wisdom is like fruit without a tree. Both are necessary for the complete path. Master Oyi, one of the great Pure Land patriarchs, taught that chanting Amitabha Buddha's name while cultivating the compassionate aspiration of Avalokiteshvara creates the fastest path to Buddhahood, because it unifies the two wings of enlightenment. In practical terms for your daily life in 2025, this means your chanting practice becomes more powerful and transformative when you alternate or combine these two names. Start your session with Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva to open your heart and connect with the suffering you or others are experiencing. Then transition to Namo Amitabha Buddha to anchor yourself in the ultimate refuge and wisdom that transcends all temporary suffering, or alternate between them, letting each name balance and enhance the other. Many practitioners report that this balanced approach helps them maintain consistent daily practice, because it addresses both their emotional needs and their spiritual aspirations. If you're finding value in this teaching, helps share this Dharma with others who need it. And please subscribe. We release new Dharma teachings every week to support your practice. Can you relate to this need for both wisdom and compassion in your practice? Fourth, the practical miracles and life transformations that occur when you sincerely chant both names together demonstrate the living power of this ancient teaching in modern times. Now, I want to be very clear about something important before we explore this final point. When we speak of miracles in Buddhism, We're not talking about superstition or magic that violates natural laws. We're talking about the profound transformative power that arises when our mind aligns with the enlightened qualities of wisdom and compassion represented by these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The Heart Sutra reminds us that form is emptiness, and emptiness is form, meaning that consciousness and reality are deeply interconnected. When we transform our consciousness through sincere practice, our experience of reality transforms as well. This is the true miracle, the miracle of inner transformation that naturally manifests as outer change. Let me share some powerful examples from practitioners in our community and from the broader Buddhist tradition. Remember Maria, the practitioner I mentioned earlier, whose son was struggling with severe depression? After 6 weeks of chanting both Namo Amitabha Buddha and Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva daily, dedicating the merit specifically to her son's healing and her own peace, remarkable changes began occurring. Her son, who had been resistant to all help, suddenly agreed to try a new therapy approach that ended up making a breakthrough difference. Maria's own heart palpitations decreased significantly, and her cardiologist was surprised by the improvement in her test results. But the most profound miracle, Maria told me, was the transformation in her own mind. She said that she stopped living in constant fear and anxiety about her son, not because she stopped caring, but because she developed a deep trust in the protective power of these sacred names. This is exactly what the Infinite Life Sutra promises, when it says that those who take refuge in Amitabha Buddha will be protected by countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout their spiritual journey. Another practitioner, Robert, who is 68 years old, shared his experience of recovering from a stroke. The doctors had given him a poor prognosis for regaining full mobility and speech. Robert had been a lifelong Buddhist practitioner, but he intensified his practice after the stroke, chanting both names for several hours each day. He told me that during his rehabilitation exercises, he would mentally chant Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva with each movement, invoking the Bodhisattva's compassionate assistance. Before sleep each night, he would chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, preparing his mind for whatever transition might come, while also affirming his intention to recover and continue his spiritual practice. His recovery shocked his medical team. Within 6 months, he had regained 95% of his mobility and all of his speech. The neurologist actually asked him what he was doing differently because his brain scans showed unusual healing patterns. Now, I want to be very responsible in sharing these stories, dear friends. These practitioners were also following all their medical treatments, attending therapy, taking medications as prescribed. Buddhist practice is not a replacement for modern medicine. It's a powerful complement to it. The Vinaya texts make clear that the Buddha encouraged his monks to seek medical treatment when ill. What these sacred names provide is the mental and spiritual foundation that allows healing to occur, both physical and emotional. There's actually growing scientific research in 2025 showing that practices like mantra recitation reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, improve immune function, and enhance neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to heal and form new connections. But beyond the scientific explanations, there's a deeper spiritual reality at work. The Lotus Sutra, chapter 25, contains numerous stories of people saved from disaster by calling upon Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, merchants saved from shipwreck, prisoners freed from bondage, women blessed with children, people protected from fire, flood, and attack. These aren't just ancient legends, beloved Sangha. They're testimonies to a spiritual law that continues operating today in 2025 just as it did 2,500 years ago. When we align our consciousness with enlightened compassion and wisdom, we tap into a power greater than our individual limited self. Let me give you a practical framework for how to begin this combined practice in your own life today. Each morning when you wake, before checking your phone or starting your daily routine, sit quietly for just 5 minutes. Chant Namo Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva 108 times, asking for the Bodhisattva's compassionate blessing on your day and on all beings who will cross your path. Then chant Namo Amitabha Buddha 108 times, taking refuge in the ultimate wisdom and peace that transcends all temporary troubles. During the day, whenever you face difficulty, stress, conflict, or pain, silently chant Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, invoking immediate compassionate assistance. In the evening before sleep, chant Namo Amitabha Buddha to purify your day's karma, and prepare your mind for peaceful rest and spiritual protection through the night. This simple daily structure, which takes perhaps 20-30 minutes total, creates a protective spiritual field around your entire life. Master Yin Guang, the 13th patriarch of Chinese Pure Land Buddhism, taught that even brief but sincere daily recitation of these names accumulates immeasurable merit and leads directly to liberation. The key word is sincere. You must chant with genuine faith and devotion, not mechanically or skeptically. I'd love to hear your experience with this teaching in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join our growing Sangha. We explore profound Buddhist wisdom every week. Share your thoughts below. Our community learns from each other. Dear Dharma companions, let's bring everything together now so you can carry this teaching forward into your life starting today. We've explored 4 profound reasons why chanting Namo Amitabha Buddha and Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva together creates such powerful spiritual results. First, we discovered the sacred relationship between Amitabha Buddha and Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, understanding that they work together as wisdom and compassion unified, with Avalokiteshvara serving as the compassionate guide who leads us to Amitabha's ultimate refuge. Second, we learned how this dual practice creates a complete protection system that addresses both immediate suffering and ultimate liberation, meeting our needs exactly where we are, while guiding us to where we need to be. Third, we explored the synergy between wisdom and compassion that accelerates our spiritual transformation, preventing our practice from becoming either too dry and intellectual or too emotional and unfocused. Fourth, we witnessed the practical miracles and life transformations that occur when practitioners sincerely engage this combined practice, from healing serious illness to finding peace in difficult circumstances. The beautiful truth, beloved Sangha, is that these 2 sacred names are not separate paths competing for your devotion. They are complementary expressions of the same enlightened reality, like 2 hands working together to lift you out of suffering. When you chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, you're calling upon the destination, the ultimate peace and wisdom that awaits you in the Pure Land. When you chant Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, you're calling upon the compassionate guide who helps you navigate every step of the journey to that destination. In 2025, as we face unprecedented challenges in our world, from health crises to environmental disasters, from social conflict to personal suffering, these ancient practices offer not escape but empowerment. They give us the tools to transform our consciousness, and through that transformation, to participate in healing both ourselves and our world. If this Dharma teaching resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for weekly wisdom. Share your biggest insight from today's teaching in the comments. I read every single one, and our community grows stronger when we learn from each other's experiences. Click that subscribe button to join our community of practitioners and turn on notifications so you never miss a teaching. May the infinite light of Amitabha Buddha illuminate your path. May the boundless compassion of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva protect and guide you every moment. May all beings everywhere find peace, healing, and ultimate liberation. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Namo Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. Until we meet again in the next teaching, dear friends, may your practice be blessed and your heart be at peace.